Basing. Ah yes, the essential foundation to setting any scene. Every model is a puzzle piece of a larger cinematic scene, after all, and what world are they fighting upon? As I was making this video, I was thinking deeply about why I enjoy basing so much. As an artist, some things are just based on instinct, no pun intended. But you start to teach and you look at yourself from the outside. And the conclusion that I came to is that even on an unmodified model, the base still represents the individual. It still represents the chance to apply a unique expression that makes that model specifically yours. Greetings, Chromatic Warriors! Today we are getting down on the ground. I want to talk about basing. I want to talk about efficiency, pre-mixed ingredients, and the joy of discovery and engaging with your environment. After all, you must go out and hunt for these essential ingredients. So don't be afraid to take a walk and see what you can find. Personally, I would recommend finding a walking trail along the river. You're sure to find some driftwood. If there are train tracks involved, boy, you're really doubling down. There's going to be a lot of smashed things on the train tracks. Other people love breaking things on the train tracks just to see what's inside of them. So let's take a look at some of these recipes. And I want to say that a proper environment has at least 3 ingredients to really sell the scene. And that's beyond dirt. Dirt is an ingredient, but it does not count as a decoration. We'll be having a look at forest floor, pure Mordheim, and urban madman. First up, let's have a look at pure Mordheim. I wanted to create an urban but medieval setting. And this led me to a lot of interesting discoveries. I'm very proud of how this one came out. I wanted to create some disrupted cobblestones for the streets, and curiosity led me to taking a hammer and a piece of plastic card and pounding that against the sidewalk. It was really interesting. I didn't expect this. I was trying to get more texture from the hammered side, but yeah, I'm pounding this soft plastic against the stone, the cement texture of the sidewalk, and it gave me all of these really cool indentations. Obviously, it's a lot easier to pound up a large sheet and then cut it down into small shapes. The step was a little bit tedious, having to kind of round off those edges that I first cut these little bean shapes out with a scissors, and then taking my hobby knife to it, maybe a file to round things out even further. But what's more tedious, putting forth a concentrated effort or having to repeat this every time I want to base a model? Another ingredient I would imagine in a ruined medieval city would be some coffee stick stirrers, or planks of wood for the floor. Coffee stick stirrers look very accurate for the miniature scale. I can take my knife into that and break some of them up further, add some dings and dents. You know the score. You don't want it to just look like someone snapped it apart with their fingers. You want to give everything a little bit of detailing. My third ingredient would be some discarded lengths of chain. I also had rats and skulls on my list, but I can be a little more sparing with those. We'll talk about some larger elements later on that come into play, but for now, this and a little bit of dirt would be a very nice ground covering. Forest floor. Welcome to Earth, it was once said by Will Smith in the documentary Independence Day, and I'm here to welcome you to Earth once again. We're getting down low. I pulled some roots out of the ground and then chopped them up best I could, after drying them in the sun, of course. I used a scissors. I thought it would be a good idea to have a meat cleaver. Not a good idea. A little too finer work than... I don't want to be smashing a meat cleaver down against my table. There's too many delicate things around. Sometimes it's about giving yourself options and not necessarily needing all of them. A little bit of crumbled bark came into play as well. This I did by hand, just manipulating it best I could until I felt a pain up to my elbows. Breaking wood with your hands is a great exercise. And also, a lesser-known secret, the seed pods from the magical birch tree. When broken up, these replicate a very tiny, yet non-specific leaf. I'll also throw a little bit of dirt into the cup as well. But it doesn't count as an ingredient. I've got my 3.
Urban madman.
That's right. We're taking it to the streets. First ingredient being hammer-smashed slate. Taking that trusty claw hammer and bashing up some slate between 2 paper bags in the basement. Well, that's a good time. I'm a big fan of crushed slate. You can see it popping up in my projects over and over again, but love that variation in size that I get. I'll also use some ceramic bricks. These come in a very nice, pristine condition, but that does not say Urban Madman to me. So lay those bricks between your meaty palms and turn them back and forth until your palms are filled with a bricky powder. I'll also come in there with my sprue clippers and break up a bunch of bricks to make the smaller shatter pieces. And what urban setting is complete without destroyed mechanicals? I've got some decreased watch parts. You can buy these by the ounce on the internet. They're out there. I would try eBay first. But man, they make a great ingredient for conversions, and here, a nice micro detail. I also want to add some wiring into the mess. I have some razor wire from the army painter. I have some guitar wire from my friend who plays the guitar. I'll chop them up, I'll bend them around, just making a lot of randomness, but there's another ingredient. Also, dirt. Doesn't count as an ingredient. As I'm mixing all of these up and dumping them out into their various containers, yes, add to these like compost. If I'm working in a similar theme to any of these places, if I'm chopping up little bits of wood or some leavings of medieval scrap, everything goes in the jar. Now there are also some larger elements that you'll notice in my bases, some things to kind of create a kind of larger effect, set the stage. Like I'll use pieces of plaster very often. I make that by the batch and break it up with a hammer. I break a lot of things with a hammer. You'll also see me using sheets of corkboard. This has a bad rap, but the people that have given it a bad rap are inexperienced and doing bad work with it. So stand back, I'll show you how it's done. And putty spirals. Oftentimes when I'm sculpting, I have this little leftover bit, so I'll twist it into a spike, make use of those later. Spoiler, I don't end up using it on any of these bases, but it is an important ingredient to be aware of, and you can easily make those yourself every time you're doing a little gap filling. So, we have our sampling of ingredients, we have a buffet of options. Let's build up one base. I want to go with Urban Madman. First of all, I will glue down a piece of cork. Notice that this cork will be completely covered later on. After the cork has adhered itself and dried, I'm going to shave it down into a very soft hill. This creates a slight elevation, so my model will rise up out of the ingredients of Urban Madman. The test fit is essential. Make sure that the cork is wide enough. A lot of these models are in kind of surfing positions, very wide, powerful stance, as if one is thrashing on a flying V guitar, but I'm getting lost in metaphors. The test fit, very important. It is much like making a cake, except this one is created from nails and poisons and best served to your enemies. So first, I'm going to kind of seal the deal with a layer of dirt and super glue. I like super glue because of the capillary action that it grants me. I lay a layer down, I put dirt on top of it, I can add more, pile the dirt up, and it will stay in a very natural, mounded shape. And now, for the ingredients. Feel free to tussle your little jar around to find just the right scoop of bits. It actually went together really well. I just kind of poured it out. I can always slide more compost back into the jar. I took the handle of a brush and just pushed the bits around a little bit to make them lay naturally. Then applying an all-encompassing layer of glue once again. You can see just applying some dots of super glue. It's going to absorb out into the ingredients around it. Why did my light turn off? This is my relationship with technology. I'm using things, it exists in a solid state, and it just breaks. I'm so gentle with this. While the glue is still drying, make sure you do a foot check, just to push some of those smithereens out of the way. And there you have it. One beast man. Yea, the traveling warrior will see many worlds crushed beneath his hooves. All is an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of dark, thirsting gods. Thank you for watching this video. A special shout out goes to the MVP, the Claw Hammer. And as well, another little special shout out goes to the old smashed glass base. You can do a lot with a little. Just some gloss medium, some deliberate painting, and an imagination. Voila! I hope this video has inspired you to make many bases. Personally, I'm inspired to get a new light. This thing. I appreciate your support on adventures like this, even when things break as I'm making it. I had a lot of fun creating this video and feel that I'm able to present some unique materials that haven't been seen before. So it was a fun one for me to make. I appreciate you. Let me know how you feel in the comments section down below, and until we meet again on Down That Chromatic Trail, remain unchained. While the glue is still drying, you want to do a foot check. Just make sure to while the glue is still drying, be sure to do a foot check. Smudge, fucking damn it.